Okay, let's talk about Batman. For decades, he's been way more than just a superhero. He is an absolute icon, a global symbol, and let's be honest, DC's single most valuable character. But right now, today, he's also their biggest and most complicated problem. It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it? How can the one character that guarantees people will show up to theaters also be the one that could potentially unravel the entire foundation of DC's brand new cinematic universe? Well, to get to the bottom of that, we first have to look at what's already working and working really, really well. And that all starts with the massive, undeniable success of a Batman who stands completely on his own. The dark, gritty world built by director Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson. Look, this was not just another Batman movie. The Batman was a whole different beast. It was a raw, noir detective thriller that really dove deep into a psychologically shattered Bruce Wayne trying to find his way through a Gotham City that was just drowning in corruption. It was intense, it was grounded, and it felt real. And if you thought this was just a one-off experiment, think again. This universe is here to stay. The Batman Part 2 is already on the calendar, locked in for 2027. That's proof right there that this dark, standalone vision has a very strong and very clear future. The thing is, this success went way beyond just selling a bunch of tickets. It did something far more important. It renewed the audience's trust in DC. For years, the studio had struggled with consistency, but Reeves's film, it felt deliberate, confident. By taking Batman back to his core as the world's greatest detective, it brought a huge part of the audience back on board with DC. But, and this is a huge but, that very success creates a massive headache for the new architect of the DC Universe, James Gunn. It puts his grand plan for one single unified story in a really tricky spot. We're talking about a brand identity crisis on a blockbuster scale. So James Gunn's entire strategy is built on the idea of cohesion. You know, a shared world where Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all of them exist together in the same space. But he's been crystal clear about one thing. Matt Reeves' Batman universe is staying separate. It's what they call an Elseworlds story, meaning it's not part of the main timeline. And this right here, this is where you can see the core conflict so clearly. In one corner, you've got this dark, grounded, psychological thriller. And in the other, you have a grand, fantastical universe that's ready to embrace all the wild cosmic stuff from the comics. So DC is essentially asking us, the audience, to get invested in two totally different, competing live-action Batmans at the exact same time. Let's be real, this isn't some kind of peaceful coexistence. It is a straight-up competition. Every new trailer, every casting announcement, every single costume reveal for one Batman is going to be instantly compared to the other. They are in a direct fight for fan loyalty, for our attention, and for cultural relevance. And this battle goes so much deeper than just marketing plans. On a creative level, we are looking at a fundamental clash. The actual tones of these two worlds are practically polar opposites. Over in the DCU, James Gunn wants to lean into the color, the hope, and the pure wonder of the comic books. His vision for Superman is exactly that, a bright, shining beacon of optimism, a hero who is there to inspire all of us to be better. Now compare that to the emotional heart of the Batman. Its biggest moment isn't some triumphant world-saving victory. No, it's a terrifying psychological showdown where the hero is on the absolute verge of a complete breakdown, terrified that this maniac knows his deepest, darkest secret. You see, Robert Pattinson's Batman is so compelling precisely because he's drowning in all this trauma and guilt. He's barely holding it together. He doesn't feel like a guy who's going to sit down at a conference table with a superpowered alien and the king of Atlantis to plan out global strategy. Honestly, forcing him into that world might just break everything that makes him so special. So, how in the world is the new DCU going to solve this problem? Well, their answer is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly risky. They're going to introduce a Batman who is different in every single conceivable way. So meet the brave and the bold. This is the title of the DCU's first Batman film, and it's going to be directed by Andy Muschietti, the same guy who directed The Flash. And believe me, its approach is a radical departure from anything we've really seen on the big screen before. Okay, so here's the big gamble. Instead of giving us another origin story, the pearls, the alley, the DCU is dropping us right into the middle of Batman's long career. This is a veteran crime fighter. He's already had multiple Robins, and now he's dealing with his biological son, the incredibly volatile Damian Wayne. This is a Batman who's defined by his history, not by his beginning. But here's the thing. Just being different doesn't automatically mean it's going to be a success. In fact, this whole approach introduces a brand new set of really high-stakes challenges for the new universe. I mean, really think about it. The movie is asking us to just accept that there's this rich, unseen history of battles fought, villains defeated, and sidekicks trained. All of it happened off-screen. That is a huge narrative leap of faith for an audience to take, especially when the other Batman is showing us his journey step by painful step. And then you have his co-star, Damian Wayne. Now, he is not the charming, quippy sidekick that a lot of people might be picturing. In the comics, he is one of the most divisive, violent Robins ever. This is a kid who was raised to be an assassin by his mother, Talia al Ghul. He's arrogant, he's aggressive, and his morals are, let's say, flexible. Making this incredibly difficult character the heart of Batman's first DCU story is a monumental creative risk. This side-by-side really just puts a spotlight on the friction here, doesn't it? While one Batman is on this slow, painful journey of becoming a hero, the other one is just presented to us as a finished product. Running these two stories at the same time could easily make the DCU version feel rushed, while making the Reeves version feel like the real, definitive story. And that leads us to the single biggest danger of this whole plan. If Matt Reeves' universe keeps putting out critically acclaimed, beloved movies, the official DCU Batman could start to feel like the secondary Batman, the alternate version in the public's mind, instead of the core pillar of the entire universe that he's supposed to be. But you should never, ever count James Gunn out. He has a secret weapon. His greatest strength as a writer and director has always been finding the heart and the humanity in the strangest possible characters. I mean, this is the man who made us all cry over a talking raccoon and a walking tree. If anyone can make a story about an aging Batman struggling with fatherhood feel powerful and emotional, it's him. So what this all boils down to is that Batman is no longer the easy, guaranteed win for DC that he's been for decades. He is now the ultimate high-risk, high-reward bet, sitting right at the center of their new universe. He's their greatest strength and, at the same time, their biggest complication. In the end, the studio can draw all the lines and make all the rules they want, but it's us, the audience, who will really decide. So the question that's left hanging over everything is this. Will it be the dark, lonely detective on his solitary journey, or the veteran father fighting alongside gods and aliens? Which Batman will capture our imagination and truly define the future of DC?